Hi, welcome to HR Secrets. In this episode, we're going to cover FMLA and just make it simple to break down. Let's get into it. So FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, what's the purpose? So the purpose is to give you up to 12 weeks off of work under something that's covered. And it will also protect your employment while you're gone. And the website to find it, dol.gov, Department of Labor, is what that stands for. So what does FMLA cover? There's quite a few things, all related to health. The first one, and one of the most common ones, pregnancy. So mother gets close to going into labor, you're gonna have all the paperwork taken care of. Now you go into labor, you have the baby, you're off work. This covers up to 12 weeks being off work. That way you get time to recuperate and take care of the baby and bond with the baby, all the important stuff. This also covers adoption, foster care. Anytime there's a new child being introduced, you need time to bond. FMLA covers that. This also covers immediate family members. So let's say the wife, yes, pregnant, going to have a baby, husband gets to get off of work as well, as long as the doctor signs off on the paperwork. I'll go in more in detail on that in a little bit. But the husband can say, wife needs me off work because I gotta take care of her. She's gonna have trouble even just getting up and out of bed because she's recovering. So that's how a father can get off work as well, to spend time with the baby and wife. This also includes, like, let's say a family member is going to get surgery, any type of care that's gonna have somebody dependent on you. This does not count, though, for family members that are in-laws or cousins. It has to be immediate family. Then this also includes your own health condition. Let's say you got very sick and you couldn't work for quite a number of days, or you're going in for surgery. There's so many reasons, health-related, that can prevent you from work that would qualify under this. And then there's a trickier one called intermittent FMLA. What this means, let's say you need to go on FMLA, but not for a long period of time, back to back. For example, we've had an employee who had to take care of their dad suffering from dementia, but it wasn't every day. Typically, one of his siblings would take care of him. So he had to get off every now and then. I think it was like one day a week. So we would track it as intermittent FMLA, meaning we keep a tally in HR, we keep track, and they can't go past the 450 hours within a 12-month period. So intermittent FMLA is the thing. Definitely talk to your HR department if you're gonna need something that's not a big gap, but different time periods. Okay. Let's get into the requirements. There are some very odd requirements and very specific that potentially could restrict you from getting FMLA. So the first requirement either needs to be a public agency, like some kind of government job or education, anything like that, or a private business which has at least 50 employees. It gets a bit tricky at that point. If you're working for a smaller business, this is just going to be a conversation with your boss, and hopefully they'll be willing to work with you. And next, you would have had to have worked 1,250 hours within the past 12 months from that day you're looking at FMLA. It sounds like a lot of hours, but when you break it down for up to 8 hours a day, if you're working normal shifts, it's not that long. And next, a very specific one, there must be at least 50 employees employed there and live within 75 miles of the business. It's kind of hard to measure that one. Just once again, talk to your boss. And then you've had to have worked there for 1 year collectively. So it doesn't mean from January all the way to next January. It means from all the times you've been employed there, like let's say you took a break, you quit, came back, whatever it was, or you took a leave of absence, as long as it tallies to a year. Okay, so how do we start the process? Typically, it always starts with your HR department. Unless you don't have an HR department, then your boss. What you do though, you get a form, and your HR or your boss would fill it out. So it'll have information about you on there. They'll often include like a position description form, especially for positions that require some kind of physical labor. It's where it's really important, because it'll have a section on returning to work if you need restrictions or things like that to come back. Then after your employer fills it out, you'll get it to your doctor. Sometimes the employer will fax it over to the doctor themselves, or they'll give it to you and you got to hand carry it to the doctor. Make sure to stay on top of the doctors. They have so much going on. I've seen so many times where they filled out the FMLA paperwork, but never got it to the HR department. Often the HR department will include a fax number so the doctor can just fax it right over. I've also encountered a doctor not wanting to fax it over, saying that's too risky. They wanted you to hand carry it back. So at least there's not really much you have to do on your end. You just request a process as long as you're eligible for it, and then the HR does it, and then the doctor does it, you're done. Okay, let's go over some frequently asked questions. How many weeks off? Well, you can get up to 12 weeks off. So quite often you'll see 8 to 12 weeks. It just depends on it. And often people will want to use PTO time so they get paid, because that's the next question here. Is it paid? Unfortunately, no, it's not paid. So often people will use their PTO, but employers have the option, they have the right to require you to use PTO. This is to help prevent the system from getting abused, because let's say you're out for 12 weeks, you come back to work and you're like, all right, I'm gonna burn some PTO, I'm gonna be off for another 3 weeks, whatever it may be. So it's to help protect the employer from being abused. However, the employer does have the right to move you into a different position to help fit the needs based on the FMLA and their dire situations they have at work. If your role is a key role, they may need that temporarily filled. So they may move you temporarily. And then another one, can I just go on FMLA whenever I want? No, you can't. So your doctor has to sign off on the FMLA paperwork, meaning they're not just going to randomly say, oh, you stubbed your toe? Yeah, FMLA, let's get you out of work. No, they're going to sign off only if it's relevant, meaning a husband requesting off for the wife who just gave birth? Yeah, relevant. Wife got sick for a couple days? Probably not. It depends, but the doctor has to sign off. They have to approve it. So it can't just be anything, if that makes sense. And there you have it, FMLA in a nutshell. Try to keep it short and simple. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to your HR department. Check out that website we talked about earlier, or just leave me a comment down below and I'll respond to it as soon as possible. All right, thank you all. If you enjoyed the video, click that like, subscribe, help me out, help others out by finding the content. Take care.